Good morning, guys. So we discussed some trigger types where we can throw an error message and setting values for the records. So means we have already seen that before triggers. Now what can we do with the after triggers, and let's see some example for the triggers. Now here, let me open. See this? We have seen this trigger. We populated some values based on the some records. Like let's say if employee email is there and we have the contact, and then if the contact is exist with the employee email ID, then we got that account ID and contact ID from the database, and we set this contact and account, right? This I asked you guys to practice this one. Okay, when we will be running the SOQL query? SOQL query we will run whenever we need to get the records from the database. Okay, so now let's see some other examples. Now what I need to do is whenever I create one account, let's see, whenever I create a contact, I need to create one field called contact roles. I mean record. Here account settings, we need to enable some checkboxes. Account teams, now enable account teams. This will create account team member. Now I need team roles, account manager, sales rep, these guys are different. Contacts, Okay, now my requirement is whenever the account is created, let's say whenever the contact is created under the account, if there is no contact role under that account, then I need to create one account contact role object on that account. Now let's see, my requirement is whenever the first contact is created under the under the account, with that account I need to create one account contact role record under the object. Contact, then role, internally there will be account as well. Means this account contact role is the junction object. Means it will be having relationship with account and contact as well. If you want, you can see this account contact role object. Now here there will be relationship with account and contact role is required. Okay. Now my requirement is whenever the contact is created under the account. Now, if there is no account contact role is exist under the account, I need to create one record with that current contact. Okay. Now, let me create one test account. Okay. Now, my account is created. Under this account, I am creating one contact. Like simple, icon 1, icon last 1. Okay. Now in this case, if I create a record, then automatically under this account, one record should be created on contact role like this. Contact is this one, then role is something, business user something, is primary true, say. So this thing I need to do automatically. Okay, whenever the contact is created under the account, then I need to create one contact role record on the account object. Let's write a trigger. Through the process builder it's not possible because we need to check whether there is a account contact role or not. Okay, so that is not possible through the process builder. For that we need to go for only trigger. Now let's write a trigger on account. This account trigger, right? Now if you are going to create a record, means you are doing some DML operations, right? And that DML operation, you should always use the DML operations in the after triggers only. You should not perform any DML operations in the before triggers until unless it is required. Okay. Now here my requirement is whenever a contact is created, I need to check whether there is a contact role on its parent account ID. If it is not there, then I need to create one account contact role record. Right? So here the requirement is clearly saying that whenever a contact is created, means you should write a trigger on contact. Text trigger. Okay. Now here we know that whenever the contact is created. So now if trigger dot is insert and trigger dot is after. That's it. Means after creating a record, we need to verify whether there is a account contact role on the account or not. For that, if you want to check whether there is a record on the account or not, then what you need to do is you should always run the SOQL query. Otherwise, you cannot know that, right? For that, let's use something called if, right? Set of IDs, count IDs. So we need to do like this. So we need to separate account IDs first from the contact for trigger dot contact C trigger dot new. If string dot is not blank of C dot account ID means account may be contact may be created without account also. So in that case it will be failed. So that's why we are doing account IDs add of C dot account ID. Now we have the account ID after this one. Now we need to run the SOQL query to get all the account contact roles for this specific account. Right? Now let's write map of ID then account. ACC map new map of ID account select ID. Then we can run the SOQL query inside this. Select ID from account contact roles from account where ID in account IDs. So this should happen if account IDs are greater than dot size greater than 0. Then this should start. Means if there is no account IDs and we don't need to waste the SOQL query, right? So that's why like this. What is the error here? Okay, now we have map. So you guys try to understand why we are using map. Now let's see again. I am creating one list of account contact roles. For same logic again. Here what we need to do, we need to check if the if ACC map dot get of C dot account ID dot count contact roles dot size greater than 0 equals to 0. Then ACRS dot add new account dot role dot account id equals to c dot account id contact id equals to c dot id, then role equals to business user, then is primary equals to true. After this for loop, where it is ending here, if acrs dot size greater than 0, then insert acrs. Now here let me explain one by one. Here what we are doing, first we are getting the all the account IDs. Okay, so why we are getting the account IDs? Because we need to check whether there is account contact role record under that account or not. To check that, we should have the account ID and we should run the SOQL query to check whether there are records in the database or not. For that, we are separating the account IDs. Then we are running one SOQL query to get the account contact roles as well into the list. Okay, so why we are taking the map means to get the account contact roles also related to that specific account, we can use the SOQL query. Right, inner SOQL query we will get to get the child records. Okay, to get the child records we are using the SOQL query. In the same SOQL query we are getting the account ID as well. Okay, so if you are having the account record, then in that account record you have ID as well as its related account contact roles also you have this. So here once we have the list, then we are just again iterating the for loop, then checking whether there is account contact roles on that account or not. That's why what we are doing, acc map dot get of account ID. Now what will come? It will give the account record. Now let me give, first we need to get account with this account ID to check whether there are account contact roles or not. Account A equals to, simply we are doing like this. Okay, after this we need to check whether the account contact roles are there or not. For that what we need to do, we need to use a dot account contact roles, then this account contact roles is the list. On the list we have the size, so we use the size method. Then if size is 0 means there are no contact roles exist on the account. So if there are no account contact roles, we are creating the one new account contact role with the details. Account ID, so account ID is mandatory, so we have the account ID on the contact. Then contact ID, we have the contact record and contact ID is already there. Okay, now role we are hard coding with business role, then is primary equals to true. So instead of creating the separate object, previously I just added the code like this one. That's it. So this is the trigger. Now let's say here I have, let me remove this account contact role. Now let's create one more contact. Now there are no account contact role, right? My first con. Okay, now it should create one account contact role because there are no account contact role on that account. Go there, check account contact role is exist. So with this specific contact and account ID with the information. Now let's say if I want to, if you want to check that, let's say if I create one more contact, it should not create because account contact role is already exist. See this, it's not created. Okay, so this is how we have to perform the DML operations on different objects. Account contact role. So if you want to understand what is account contact role means, contact means a person. Okay, what is his role on the account? Let's say one account might be handled by the different users, means different contacts. Then what are their roles on that account? Some may be the business user, some may be marketing user, some may be. Hmm? If you add a new contact, automatically one contact role will be created. Is there any difficult? Now let's write another trigger. So mostly the triggers we have different ways. Now write the trigger. Create account contact role on account under account when the contact is created and there is no account contact role on account. This is one. Second one, same logic. But here without condition. When the contact is created, do this. Now let's do one more trigger where I need to do something called okay. Now here write a trigger that whenever an employee is created, okay, this is some bit difficult trigger. Whenever the employee is created and date of joining, where is the date of joining? It's not there. I think we don't have the field. Okay, create a field called date of joining. Now let's say based on the joined date. Okay, now date of joining, create a field on the employee. Now if the employee has joined on the January, so January to uh, December, so 12 months are there, then number of leave should be updated as 12. Okay, if he joins, okay, on after 15th of January, then only 11 leave should be credited. Means that particular day or the particular month should be excluded. Means if employee has joined on December 1st, one leave will be credited to into his account. If he joins after 15th of December, then it should not credit anything. The same way, the calculation should be like this. If he joins May 1st, now May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 7 leaves should be credited. Right? 8 leaves should be credited, including May. If he joins after 15th of that month, then that month leave should be excluded. Okay? Do the trigger and write this. Update the number of leaves on account based on date of joining. Exclude the leave for the month if the date of joining is greater than 15th of that month. Okay, so that is another trigger. So mostly the different triggers are there. One is parent to child. Second type of trigger is child to parent. That's it. Next you have another type called circular triggers. Then recursive triggers. Okay, so these are the triggers you have. So we have already seen child to parent, parent to child. Now what is parent to child? Parent to child means just now we have seen that whenever the contact is created, we are creating the account contact role record. Means that is also one of the child. Account contact role is also one of the child. Okay, now what I need to do is, if the contact email, let's say if I update the email on account, sorry, contact, what is that? Okay, now if I update email on the contact, I need to update on his account. Do we have email? Okay, it's not there. Now let's say active. On the contact also we have active, right? No. Okay, now let's write one trigger to update the email of account. I think we don't have the email. Let's create one field called email. Okay, so there is account email. Okay, now what I need to do is, under the account, if there is a contact, and in that contact, if email is changed, then I need to update the account email. Okay, means child to parent. There is another thing called child to parent. Now right, let's see trigger dot is update and trigger dot is after. Means after update, if the email is changed, then we need to just update that email on the account, right? Now let's compare. First let's create the accounts list, because we need to perform the update on the account, so we should have the list. ACCS new list of. Okay, now just let's compare the email ID. Okay, let's use for. So whenever you are comparing the record, then you should use always the normal for loop, right? Then if trigger dot new of I dot email not equals to trigger dot old of dot email. Means if the new and old emails are not same, then email ID is changed, right? And here what I need to do is and string dot is not blank of trigger dot new of I dot account ID. Means if there is no account ID, you don't need to add that. ACCS dot add of new account of. So for updating, you should have the ID. That's why I'm taking the ID from the contact trigger dot new of I dot account ID. Then email. What is the email field in this? Account fields. Account email equals to trigger dot new of I dot email. Finally, once the for loop is done, we have updated the account and then we need to perform the update operation. If ACCS dot size greater than 0, then update ACCS. Very simple trigger. Just we have email field on account and contact. If the contact email is updated, we need to update the same email ID on its parent account. For that, what we are doing, we are comparing whether the email is changed or not. Then we are checking whether the contact ID is there or not. Then simply we are updating the account ID. So we are creating a new account with the ID. So if you set the ID, then we can perform the update. If there is no ID, you can't perform the update operation. For that, we are creating one new record with the ID setting. Then email, we need to just perform email only. So you have to use like this. Then simply, now let's check this. This is the account. So there is no email field here. Let's write account email. Where is this? Yeah, it is. So there is nothing here. Let's go to one of the contact. Let me add one email here. Save. Now it should be updated here. Okay, so this is how I need to do. Now write the another trigger where if I change the email and the account, I need to update all contacts. Can you guys write that? Try that. Okay. Update the email, account email if there is any change in contacts email. Now another trigger is write a trigger for update all contacts email if the account email is changed. Okay, if both ways, one is we have to update on the parent and another one is we have to update on the child. Write all these triggers and let me know if you have any doubts on this. So whenever you are writing the trigger, first always get the algorithm first. So for the fifth one, trigger fifth, the algorithm like this will be get all account IDs whose email is changed. Second step, query all contacts with account ID. Third one, set the account email to the contact emails, contact to the contacts. Fourth one, update the contacts. Okay, so this is how you have to write down the algorithm first, then you can try to write the trigger. Okay, try this and let me know if you have any questions.